We will be starting the session so that a lot of people across the globe are joining from a different time zones. So we will be keeping the interest of the time we will do. But Bharat, you have given an excellent message, and then we'll be covering those things as well. So thank you so much. So now I request Bala, please go ahead and start. We will be starting the session so that a lot of people across the globe are joining from a different. Bala, please go ahead. Bala, you're on mute. So please, everybody go on mute. Only people who are speaking can check their mic, unmute and mute. And then, as I said, this is going to be a very interactive session. So please feel free to use the chat because there are so many people, we cannot be talking all the time. So please use the chat and share that with Bala. And we are beginning the session. So Bala, please go ahead.
Thank you, Swami sir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the participants across the globe. Welcome to the InfoAmerica's webinar on Race to Lead and Inspire During Crisis. In the midst of the various disasters in place, making the life of human race at stake, there is an immediate need for a ray of hope to guide and direct us towards the success. InfoAmerica is proud to present the webinar on Race to Lead and Inspire During Crisis to let us all understand that this is only a bend but not an end to anything. Please feel free to share your questions on the chat so that we can get them addressed in the conversation. I would like to introduce our CIO and COO, Mr. Swami Sriperumbudur, to host this webinar along with our esteemed guest, Farnoosh Brock. Introduction of the host. Chakradhar Sriperumbudur, please call him Swami, has served as a CIO and COO for InfoAmerica since 2016. Swami has an extensive experience in global dynamic and changing markets and industries, having served in multiple leadership roles since 1997. Working with both startup and turnaround businesses, he has transformed strategies and processes consistently, leading to tangible and stable improvement of revenue. His experience in a variety of digital and integrative areas, coupled with his thought leadership mindset, make him a catalyst for growth and expansion. Swami received the Emerging Leader Award and holds a patent for an innovative tool he developed to streamline Verizon's processes. He had served as a board of directors for multiple organizations and continue to influence growing minds and as both keynote and motivational speaker. His ability to both connect with people and streamline technical processes has led him to lead global teams with year-over-year revenue gains. Mr. Swami is a motivational speaker, philanthropist, winner of 2 World Book of Records, and a business strategist. For more than 2 decades, more than hundreds of people enjoyed the warmth, humor, and transformational power of his business and personal development events. Mr. Swami has presented multiple keynote events at various universities and inspired thousands of students. We are proud to have an eminent leader like Swami at InfoAmerica and are fortunate to work under his thought leadership. Thank you. Introduction to the guest. I would like to introduce our speaker today, Farnoosh Brock, who is an electrical engineer by education. After a successful 12-year career at a tech Fortune 100, she started her own company in 2011 and partnered with her husband in 2012. Since then, she had authored 4 books, created several professional development programs, and coached hundreds of entrepreneurs, executives, and professionals. The core of her work is around success mindset and strategies that elevate impact, influence, and income for all. Her last book is The Serving Mindset: Stop Selling and Grow Your Business. She is excited to share insights and strategies with us today around leadership during the crisis. We are glad to have such eminent speaker with us today to motivate and guide us to shape our future better. I would request our CIO and COO, Swami, to kindly host this webinar and take it forward. Over to you, Swami, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Bala, for that wonderful introduction. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all my fellow Info-Americans and youth from various colleges and universities spread across the globe. My special thanks to Farnoosh Brock for accepting my personal invitation to talk to you all and inspire. However, before she begins speaking, I would like to give few key takeaways to all of you. As we all know, this is very, very difficult time for everyone, irrespective of their age, gender, and location. Each and every person on this planet Earth is going through the rough times. Maybe 1% of the current population might have witnessed a similar one which occurred in 1920s. And now we all are witnessing after 100 years. As a leader, one should travel in the unknown path and pave the way for our followers, friends, and family. So each one of you have to rise and lead to become a leader and help others. But what traits one should possess as to be a leader? This is what my friend Farnoosh Brock is going to cover in detail. But in the meantime, I would like to share my personal experience and what I learned from my spiritual master, Sri Chinajir Swamiji. I'm following myself these techniques and experiencing it, and I thought this might be helpful to you as well. Here are 4 key elements one must follow to acquire a leadership skill. One is spiritual, second is intellectual or knowledge, third is physical, fourth is emotional. These are the similar things which I also heard from my friend and motivational writer, Robert Glaze. Let's look at those in a very small nutshell before I hand over to Farnoosh. First trait is spiritual. Irrespective of your race and religion, you must have faith in the supreme power, God, and spend time in meditation, in learning some scriptures of your interest and get blessings of God. And focus on what matters most to you. Many of us are really in the panic mode. They're really not able to decide what is really important to you. You feel happy. The positive side of the COVID is you are able to stay at home. That means many of the kids not able to spend time with parents. Parents are not able to spend time with the kids. Siblings are not able to spend time together because everybody is off of their work location or study location or whatever. So this is giving you a much, much bigger opportunity to stay together. And this is a very important triad. Once you are with the family, once you are learning the spiritual techniques and doing some great reading about the scriptures, whatever the race, religion you are, know more about it, more the inner meaning of it, so that you really become a spiritual disciple, right? You may not be a master, but at least you will be a good disciple to do it. And this builds a lot of confidence in you. And second triad, as I said, it is an intellectual capacity or a knowledge. That means you need to lead in learning the great things, because this crisis has given us enough time to spend at home. So that means you can really manage your time very well in doing your, either if you are a student, your studies, and then you have a lot of free time. If you are a professional, you can do your work and you have a lot of free time. So this is very, very important time and to try to learn new skills personally and professionally. This is a great opportunity to attend these kind of webinars where you are able to meet a different eminent speakers who are spread across the globe from your home. So thanks to the technology, it is allowing you to learn from the people who really have experience. You know, we all have gone through 20, 30 years of experience. So this is a recipe of success is already coming directly to wherever you are. So use this opportunity to learn. And if you are a technical person, learn some technical things, leadership things, whatever is good in professionally and personally, please spend your time wisely to learn new techniques. And another key important is physical, right? How critical it is, I can't even tell you, because if you are not starting your daily routine with yoga or exercise and not taking care of your good habits, then it is going to become a very, very tough time from your physical perspective. Because I have been getting a lot of messages from my friends and business people in the network. They are all saying, last 6 months I'm spending time at home, I am eating a lot of junk food, I'm putting a lot of weight. Is that what you want to do? This is the time where you really need to have a disciplined life so that you can have a great routine with a good eating and working habits. Yes, sometimes you are at home, that means you are also stretching. Instead of 10 hours, you may be working 12 hours, but you need to manage. How are you managing your time properly? When are you getting up? When are you taking your food? What kind of food are you taking? Because it is easily to spend time on a couch and then just start eating chips and watching movies. Or are you using this for a betterment? Are you learning something? Are you making use of the time what you have on hand, making sure you have a good physical exercise? Because you are all are staying home, you're not really going to work or school, so that means you're not really doing any minimum exercise of catching a bus, going to school, or riding a bike or riding a bicycle. Nothing is happening. So make sure you have inculcate this into your regular format to make sure there is a physical fitness is happening in your life with a good daily routine and eating habits. Last but not least is emotional. You need to control on your emotions, because your stress levels are very high because you are just staying at home. There are a lot of unknown things are happening. So if a person, as Bharat mentioned, if you have already lost a job, then you may be really in a panic mode to see how I can get a job in this. If you are a student, you're not really focusing, you may be getting a less marks. How can you really do? If you're a working professional, if you're not focusing, your project may be a disaster. So focus on your emotional, because your communication is very, very critical. How are you communicating with your fellow people, in your friends, family, and business? There are very, very simple things, but if you don't follow it properly, it is going to be a disaster, and it is going to improve. So that means you need to really work on your emotional. So my friends and fellow Info Americans, I want you all to focus on these four things. Learn something in spirituality, follow the spirituality, whatever is you believe. Second, learn whatever the new skills personally, professionally. If you have a habit of cooking, learn some recipes. If you have a habit of doing something else, do. Like, I have started a habit of doing some podcasts. So I started a new series called Leadership in Crisis. I'm talking to various industry leaders. See, learning is not a stagnant. One person, at irrespective of their age and position, you need to keep learning. I am learning a lot of new things. Even Farnoosh is learning a lot of new things. So you need to adapt. And third is again physical. Make a better daily routine with a good work habits. And last but not least, control your emotions. I just want to give these four takeaways. I want you to use this as a mantra, at least from this webinar. Understand the gist of it and then make use of it. Before further delay, I would like to really invite my wonderful friend, and thanks for accepting, Farnoosh, to give a beautiful, because she has really prepared a lot of messages for you all. And then I am sure you will be in a very good positive roller coaster ride, like a Disney, going to Disney and all, because this is all a new way of approach, new technique she's learned. I mean, she's going to share it with us, because she has been spending almost more than a decade in observing and adopting new techniques and delivering a great message to all of us. So my friends, fellow Info Americans, and my dear students, because you are the young minds and the ignite minds, take this opportunity, make sure to work with it, because I don't want you to just listen. Take a paper and a pen and take a notes. These are the very critical points. So please make sure, at least if you can adopt 10% from this webinar, your life will be different, especially in this pandemic. Thank you again for joining this. Farnoosh, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just so glad to be here. Swami set the bar so high that I just hope to deliver at that level. But more than anything, this is an engagement and interaction with you. It's not a monologue. It's not a lecture. So I would like for you to please participate. We are going to use the chat window as our friends just shared with you. And I will have questions for you. So a couple of things before I share my screen, because I do have slides. First of all, there's no questions that are unwelcome. Anything that is on your mind that can help you, I welcome that. Second, when I look down, I'm looking at my iPad where I have the list of questions. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not distracted. And third, please listen for the one takeaway. One, not 10, not 5. One takeaway that really resonates with you, that really makes you think, oh, I would really like that, or that would really help me. And that is something I want you to take and then implement or integrate into your life. So we'll talk about that more. So with that said, I will share my screen. I do have some slides here, just a little bit of visual aid for us. And I would like to start by a question, and that is a very simple question. It's a simple yes, no question. And that is, if I say to you that you are a leader right now in your own position, whether you're a student, I understand we have students here, or you are an employee, you're not a boss or a manager. But if I said to all of you, you are a leader, do you agree or disagree with that statement? Okay, so it's just a yes, no. And speaking of chat, am I monitoring the chat, or is someone going to share with me?
Yeah. For all your support, Bala, who is the program manager, is managing all the chat. So he will be looking at all the chat and he will let us know, you and me.
Perfect. So Bala, if you just, give me, let me say something else, and then in a few seconds, you tell me what the responses are. But a yes or no to how you see yourself as a leader right now, right? And so with that said, and I'll come back to your answers, we're going to talk about how important it is right now, wherever you are. I know many of you are in India. I hope to visit someday your beautiful country. I am in North America. We have people all over the globe. Wherever you are, more than anything, we need good leaders. I hope you don't disagree with that. And leadership doesn't come with a title. Swami happens to be the CEO of your company, but he's also a leader. But if you don't have a title of a CEO, you still need to think about how you show up in your life as a leader, because that's the way to help you get through, but also to help people around you so that we can all be successful after this pandemic. So what are our answers looking like, Bala?
Almost all the answers are yes, Parnosh.
Excellent. I knew Swami already has raised a bunch of leaders here. So that's wonderful. Let's see if we can help you deepen your level of leadership. So with that said, oops, where's my mouse? Here we go. So this is the premise of everything we're going to talk about. We can all rise to lead and inspire. We don't need a title. We don't need permission. It is something we can choose to do. You don't need a degree or a skill. It's within you to do this. However, even though it's in your full control, it's a choice you make every day. Every day you wake up, when the news is so bad and you have your own personal challenges, we all have our own. And some of us have more challenges than others, but we try not to compare because everyone experiences pain and suffering in their own way. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. Am I going to be a victim today, or am I going to be a leader? It's a very conscious choice. And you have to make that choice every day. Hopefully you choose to be a leader until it becomes automatic, until it becomes the way you operate. So keep that in mind, right? Now, let me give you an overview of what we're going to cover. So first, I want to talk a few minutes about accepting what's not so new anymore. It was when I started giving this presentation back in March, our new reality, right? What does that even mean? That comes first. So that's why I have that first. Then we're going to talk about the why behind this concept that I shared. It's our duty to lead and inspire. Why? Why should we bother? Why can't we just live our life and get through it? Let's talk about that. And then we're going to get very tactical and strategic. And I want you to adopt your, you see, I have that in capital letters, your effective, unique approach. Because each of you is going to walk away taking something different from this. And that's okay. You may take 2 or the 3 tools I give with you here, and then somebody else might resonate with others. So listen for that one idea. This is really important. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. One idea, because if you implement one single idea every day, a month or 2 months or 6 months down the road, you will see exponential growth in your leadership. So listen for that. All right, let's talk about accepting our new reality. And the idea here is, this is important because before we lead anyone else, before we can be a source of inspiration for anyone else, we have to lead ourselves. We have to take care of our own house, right? We have to have a mindset that helps us be a leader first, because otherwise we are not good enough to be a role model just yet. So all of us have had our own reactions and responses to this new pandemic, right? And the first thing is, whatever your reactions have been, it is okay, right? Just because somebody is reacting better than you doesn't mean it's easier for them or they're better. It just means we are all complex. We have our own responses. To share with you a quick story, I was born and raised in Iran, and we are practically neighbors with India, right? And when I was 5 years old, there was a revolution that changed the entire government. And when I was 6, there was a war with Iraq. So I lived through bombings in Tehran when I was growing up. I mean, I was really little. I didn't know what was going on. Everything was exciting. But
Wow.
my parents were in terror, and we were just lucky that we didn't get bombed, right? I mean, I'm saying this like it's funny, but it kind of is, right? Because, oh my God, how crazy, right? Now, I hadn't thought about that memory in decades. But when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden, I was feeling those emotions. So, and I had to take my time and really process that and really come to a level of acceptance that this is happening, even though it's not the same thing. So, my point here is, however you're experiencing this, whatever issues it's brought up, and you thought, oh my God, I'm over those issues, it is okay. But what needs to happen, and by now, hopefully, October, right? We are in this 6 months in. You may be better about it, maybe not, but I need you to accept it. So let's talk about what it means to accept. Accepting this new reality doesn't mean we like it at all. Doesn't mean we like it. It doesn't mean you don't miss people, you don't miss gatherings, you don't miss family, you don't miss going out without a mask. Doesn't mean that. Accepting means you are not constantly fighting your reality, the actual reality we live in, with your limited time and energy. You're not constantly saying, I wish this were different. I wish, I don't like this, I don't like that, because that is a waste of your energy. So accepting means having a level of peace on the inside that this is what it is. Like my mantra is, this is life now. This is life now. So somebody's drawing on I'm seeing lines on my screen, but that's okay. I'm just going to ignore them. So accepting. So the question for you now is, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is, no, I haven't accepted this at all, and 10 is, I have fully accepted and even embraced my reality, where would you put yourself? Give me some answers. And I see the chat window, so I'm just going to cheat and look here. 1 to 10. So I will tell you, I'm still a 9. I'm not a 10, but I feel like, okay, I have accepted this new normal and I am able to function and do my work well. So what number would you give yourself? Bharat gave, nope, that's not Bharat. Lakshmi, a 7. Right. I want to see some numbers here. An 8, good. An 8 is the most common number when I give this presentation lately, so that's good. 7, okay. And we fluctuate. During the day, you might be 5 at first, but then you do all the work that Swami talked about, taking care of yourself, yoga, meditation, and it rises. Okay, so keep this in mind. This is important because we want to help you go further up the scale. So I have 3 tools for you to do that. Listen for what you most want to use, okay? So the first tool is reframing those inner thoughts with the tool of journaling, but doing so with prompts. So a prompt is simply a question. You've heard of journaling, right? There is free flow journaling. You just write whatever comes to you, and writing is very therapeutic because you empty your thoughts. So you have more space here to think and to use your energy better. But the prompts can help you redirect and answer a specific question. And I have used this tool with people who have a really hard time. They're like fighting this new reality, constantly in stress mode. This can really help you. I can show you, this is just some of my journals around the house. And I love journaling on actual paper. You may like to do it digitally or on paper. But here are the two questions for you, okay? The first question you want to answer. So you take this question and you answer it again and again on a journal. How can I grow from this pandemic, this situation? How can I grow from it? Not how can I get through it, which is the more standard question, but how can I grow from it as a leader? I had a leader, a VP at some company. He happened to have the title. We're all leaders. And he was saying he was looking for a specific challenge, and the pandemic has, in a weird way, given him that challenge. He's going to grow through the pandemic. He's going to grow his leadership skills. The second question, you can take both or just one. What is this situation showing me about myself? Okay. Now I learned that I had this fear of starving. So when everyone in America was running out to get toilet paper, I was filling up my fridge. And that was very interesting because I didn't know that about myself. And the reason this one is useful is because it helps you to get to know yourself better. Who am I? What are my fears? And when we know ourselves better, we make better life decisions, right? So this can be very interesting. But this is one way that one tool that you can use. All right. I'm going to move on to this one. Trading anxiety for calm, and you do that through positive affirmations. So affirmations are statements that we say, and you may have your own thoughts around affirmations. I was very skeptical. You know, an affirmation is like, I'm a powerful woman. I am a great leader. That is an affirmation. Now, I can tell you affirmations work. The mindset works because I proved it. And I'll tell you how. So I'm an engineer, right? And I wasn't just going to take a positive statement and think that it could actually help me emotionally and mentally. But I'll tell you what, if you had to do a push-up, you know push-ups, right? On the floor. If you had to do a push-up while you told yourself, I am weak, I am tired, I can't do this, you will have a really hard time doing it. Now, if you stop, turn around, and do the push-ups again, same you, same body, telling yourself, I am strong, I can do this, I have got this, your body will perform better. Now that is one proof, and there are many more scientific proofs of how your thoughts affect your body. And so I hope that is enough proof for you. Now, the way you would use the positive affirmation is, this is a very specific affirmation for our situation. You need to be realistic in what you say because your mind has to get on board. So the one I have for the pandemic that I've been sharing is, even though this situation is very difficult and my life has been disrupted, I deeply and completely accept it. Not I love it, not this is great, but I accept it. It's a very specific prompt that you say. And you say this when you feel anxious, when you feel stressed, when you feel your world is closing in. Maybe somebody in your family, God forbid, has COVID. And so my grandmother just had it in Iran. She caught it in a nursing home. And I told Swami, I won't tell this story, but here it is. And she survived. But I'm not saying that's the case for everyone. You know, it could have gone either way. But during that week, we were on pins and needles over here, a world away, not being able to do anything. So this affirmation, this statement can help you be calm so you can help those around you. And you want to say it again and again. You can whisper it. You don't have to say it out loud. I like to say my affirmations out loud. Okay, so now The third tool, okay, I told you I'll give you 3 tools to help you be in more acceptance with your reality. You use whatever. The third one is grounding yourself with regular meditation. And here I do have a question for you. How many of you have a current meditation practice right now? Meditation can be anything, like you know better than anyone. It's a world of options. But how many of you on a daily basis right now, when we need it the most, sit quietly a few moments and just be?
Yeah, just
Yes.
to make sure, meditation is not counting as what you sleep every day, 8 hours.
No, sleep doesn't count. No.
Just want
Good
to say
point.
that.
I don't know if anyone confuses them, but yes, they don't count. Okay, I'm not getting any answers. Does that mean none of you meditate? And that's okay. But I would like to know where you stand with meditation. Now, I was very skeptical about meditation too. Do you know the most successful people in the world have a regular meditation practice? They may not call it meditation. In fact, I know the name sometimes triggers people. I don't know why, but here are the names some of my clients have preferred to use: quiet time, prayer time, breathing time. But what I find works best is consistency. You can call it anything, but if you can give yourself 5 minutes to disconnect from the outside world. I've started meditating 2 or 3 times a day because I feel like I need that much help to be my best self and to ground myself because the stress is high. But at a minimum, 5 minutes a day. So this one I highly recommend. You can do it in any format. And it's okay. We had a shy crowd when it came to meditation, but I really recommend this. Now, 3 tools you can use: the meditation, the affirmation, and the journaling. This is to help you come to a place where, even though things are really strange and difficult right now, that you are more grounded and at peace so you can bring your best leadership self to the world. Make sense?
For
Okay.
I think a couple of people responded. They're doing some half an hour, 5 minutes. 45.
Perfect. Weekly 45. Okay, weekly doesn't help. I would rather you do 5 minutes a day, Rakesh, not weekly. This is like brushing your teeth every day. 15 minutes daily. Richard, excellent, right? Keep it up. And if that particular meditation isn't giving you the peace you need, because it needs to give you a little more peace, switch it up, right? Okay, so those are some tools for you. Now we're going to talk about leading and inspiring, what I call your circle of influence. Those are all the people you touch in your life. And by touch, I mean in any way, right? You influence them. Now, how can we lead and inspire them? I'm going to give you some small deeds because this isn't about changing everything you do. This is a small, tiny things you can do, but it has powerful outcomes. So with that, excuse me one second. Okay, first I'm going to prove to you that you're already a leader, right? A lot of you feel that already, which is great. But the ways that you show up as a leader, so let's look at those. If you are a deep listener, that means you are somebody that I can come to, and you created this safe container for me to share my thoughts with you. Not to judge me, not to give me advice, just listen. This is a skill, this is leadership. If you're doing that, you are a leader. And do more of it. Are you offering a calm, quiet voice and some reassuring words? Leadership doesn't have to be loud. You don't have to stand next to a podium and give a talk. Maybe that's one type of leadership. Right now, quiet, calm voices and 2, 3 reassuring words. I hear you. I understand. You will get through this. I'm here to help you. That can make a huge difference for someone. And that's leadership. Bringing strength and poise to your interactions. This is more bringing awareness to your body, how you show up, right? Not just on a Zoom call, but when you meet your neighbor from a distance, right? Or somebody at the grocery store. Are you showing up in such a way that I can look at you and think this person is strong? This person has a good grasp of their life or the current situation, right? And we have that in mind. Who looks like a leader? They walk and pose like a leader. Think about that. And if you're always stooped and feeling small, think about how you can open your body a little bit and welcome others. Not for a hug, though, just for listening to them. And separating fact from fear. Now, this one is very relevant to our current situation, and we have to be careful about this. So, the first 2-3 weeks of the pandemic, I shared with you already, I was a bit of a mess, and I was sure the world is going to end. I know that sounds stupid, but I was pretty sure. And my husband, who had to be very careful what he was going to say, still was able to give me the understanding I needed, while at the same time bringing my perspective over here to say, yes, I know how you feel, but look at what's happening here, and look at the effort over here, and look at the numbers over here, just to balance me out. So we don't want to say, well, you're wrong, you should see it this way, or that's ridiculous. No, that's judging. We want to say to others, I hear you. I can see you're worried, concerned, afraid. I am too. But I understand these things are happening. There is more good that is also happening to help us get through this. Balancing that little balance can help someone get through their day or show up stronger for their relative who may be going through COVID, right? This is all leadership. You're all doing this, I'm sure. If you're not, do more of it. You know how to do this. So some ideas here. Now let's talk about our why. I'm going to check my incoming chat. Great. Okay, the meditation stuff's coming in. Keep that up, please. Wonderful. And then we're going to continue with the why behind this whole leadership idea, right? Why bother? Now, for this one, I am going to give you two whys that matter to me. And at the end of this, I want you to really pick the thing that drives you to be a leader, because this is very personal, right? Now, one why that I think about is I see it as a duty to serve those who are more in need. So that means, let's say you have even though all of us are enabled, we have the capacity to be a leader, you may be in a better position in your life or situation to be a leader than somebody who is more overwhelmed. Like I use the example of our frontline healthcare workers. They are stretched to the max, they are tired, and that stress and anxiety is bringing them closer to burnout. They are not in a place where they can show up as a leader. They are just tired and getting through the day. My job, if I come across those people in my life for coaching, is to be that person that can help them and serve them and inspire them and listen to them. So I see that as my duty because I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. So that's one reason. Another one is it doesn't just fall on us. Like if all of you after this call go out and be great leaders, which I know you will do, that's not enough. Right? What we need to do is count on the ripple effect, right? You know the ripple effect, right? You throw a rock in the river or in the on the lake, and that ripple effect. So we start, and as we go through our circle of influence, hopefully we create the ripple effect of leadership and optimism, which we're going to talk about, so that others do that for the others in their circle. Those are my two reasons. You may come up with a better reason. And what did I put here? Okay, yes. And I want you to think about this. You don't need to share it in the chat, but what's a reason inside of you that is so compelling that makes you believe this is why you need to show up as a leader? All right. Okay, so we're going to keep going. And now we're going to get more strategic and tactical. And I'll share with you some strategies on how to bring this leadership to life, so to speak. And I'm going to base this on this concept, my body of work called the serving mindset. And the way I define the serving mindset, so this is a very, very brief, high-level definition, but I define it as, with the serving mindset, you approach every interaction. That could be a phone call, a conversation, a chat from across the road, an email, a text. Those are all interactions with other human beings, yes? With the genuine desire to be of service to them first and foremost. So This is the idea of setting aside our own agenda and starting with how can I help? How can I serve? Right? Simple enough. We're going to use this concept in the strategies I share with you. All right? Okay. Make sure I'm not skipping anything here. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So more than ever, I think that we want to invest heavily in relationships right now. I think this applies all the time, pandemic or not. But I feel the greatest asset we have at a company level, at an organization, schools, communities, anywhere you look, even in your life, your relationships, the people are the greatest asset, right? Other things can be replaced. And the currency, if you will, to getting through that asset and to using that asset and to building that asset is trust. Trust. And think about this. Ask yourself, how easily do you trust others? And how much do they have to work to earn your trust? Right? We're getting some background noise, but trust is not binary. It's not one or the other. It's a spectrum, and you build it. So the idea here is, if you have trust in other people and they have trust in you, continue to build it and nurture it. Okay. Now let's talk about our first strategy, and this is the strategy of starting everything with empathy. I'm going to define empathy and then ask you a question. Empathy is our ability to understand the feelings of another person. Okay. And I'm sure you know the definition, right? I just want to put that there as a gentle reminder. Now, you know this in your body because in your life, I hope, people have extended to you the grace of empathy. So you know what it feels like to receive empathy. The idea here is to give empathy at least the first minute of that interaction. Okay. Now, the question for you is, what percentage of your interactions do you start with empathy? I know you do it, but if you had to give it a percentage, like think about all the interactions in your day, how many times, is it 50% of the time, 80% of the time, you start that interaction with some kind of empathy, understanding, compassion for the other person's situation? 30%. Okay, so that's good. And I think we can do better. 40%. Okay, because now I'm making you think, oh, do I, don't I? That's fine. That's actually great, right? So my suggestion is that we do this 100% of the time, 60%, Rakesh. Okay, good. So my suggestion is we do this every single time we have the interactions, because it is an act of leadership and it helps you actually with whatever you're doing in that conversation. So here is an example. I'm giving you some language. Let me actually check to see. I'm getting more responses, 50, 50, 60, 40. Okay, so let's say half of the time you're doing this. Fantastic. Let's raise the bar. So I'm going to give you scripts that I have used with my clients and it works. You are welcome to steal this or make your own. But you might say something as simple as, Dan or Rakesh, use people's names. I'm curious, before we get into our business agenda, tell me, how are you adapting to the new or not so new working environment at home? This question is still relevant, by the way, even if a year later we're still working from home, because we're still human beings. We're dealing with it, right? So that's one way to show empathy. Or you might say, Jen, how well are you taking care of yourself and your family? I'm curious. Let's spend a few minutes on that before we talk about work. It's very simple, but this creates this safe container I talked about, where you allow people to share a little bit and therefore to feel better, and therefore they go step back into their lives more as leaders and less as hopeless and stuck. So don't underestimate that. Okay, number two, a little less common, but I want to talk about inspiration, right? Because I believe we can deliver this in a unique way as well. So a source of inspiration is so simple. You share something that's helping you right now. You may think it's common knowledge, it probably isn't. So you might say, hey, Patrick, I wanted to tell you, one thing I do that inspires me and my team every day is that I start the meeting with 2 minutes of breathing time. I'm making it up, right? Something simple. Patrick could be your customer, your friend, your partner, your boss. It could be somebody above you. Or you might say, Leslie, I thought I'd share with you something that keeps me going because, we're still talking about things that help, but we are also dealing with it. So, some ideas to share inspiration. Now, I know you might think I can go to Pinterest and look at motivational quotes. That's not the same. It's not the same as you coming to me and telling me what is personally working for you. So, don't discount this one. All right, strategy number 3. This is a fun one. I did a video on LinkedIn about this yesterday. I'm really passionate about this. So maximizing our productivity. Why am I passionate about it? I'm not passionate about productivity. That's just boring. I'm passionate about life balance, balancing our lives because work is one part of it. Play, family time, fun are the other parts, and rest and rejuvenation. And if we don't have that balance, things just don't go well. We don't do our best in any one area. So to maximize productivity, this number 1 has been proven scientifically. Dedicating a designated workspace to your work. Now, this is my office because I work from home. This has always been my office for 10 years. But if you have a dedicated corner of the dining room table or kitchen where it belongs to you, then you do your work from there, your calls from there, but nothing else from there. You are going to be a lot more productive. So I am actually curious, how many of you have a designated workspace? Not necessarily an office, because that's a luxury sometimes, but how many of you, or do you just move around, move your laptop around all the time? So let's see. Thank you for participating, by the way. Okay, so Aditya has it. Good. Yeah.
Farnush, your video was excellent. I think it was very encouraging.
Oh, thank you. That's right. You saw the video. Like, it was impromptu, but I thought, this just, and it helps the boundary between life and work or the rest of life. Yep. Good. So some of you already have this, and this could be something to think about. For instance, I don't move my laptop out of this space. I just keep it here. I might check my email on my phone in the kitchen, sure, but I do my work here so that there is this boundary. Okay, very good. So we're doing well here. The second thing is communicating boundaries. So you're at home, and so is probably everyone else in your household. It's so important to communicate boundaries because if you are in what I call deep focus mode, like you're solving a problem, thinking about something, and you've been doing it a few minutes, when you get interrupted by whoever, it's going to take you 20 minutes to get back into deep focus mode. They've done studies on this. I'm not making it up. Now, 20 minutes, what a waste of time, right? Plus, you're not going to be able to give this person who interrupted you your full attention or be fully present with them. So we need to honor our boundaries. My husband and I work together, and it took us a few years to figure out how to work together because we're complete opposites. And I had to invent something that would bring more peace to the marriage. And I did. I made up this sign. So this sign, on the one side, it says, I'm happy and willing to talk. On the other side, it says, quiet, please. So if I open, and right now we've gone digital, so now we're doing like a light. But I used this for years. And if I click, just cracked open his door, and if it was on quiet, please, I would walk away. I wouldn't feel offended or ignored, but get creative and have boundaries. Because if you're working and playing and everything together, you're not going to give your full attention to any one area. And that feeling, you come away a little unsatisfied. Like, I didn't quite get this done, didn't quite spend time with over here. So boundaries are so important.
And I think just Farnush, I want to just say one point. I think it is very, very important for all the people, especially the students, because they always think about work and or study and play together, and sometimes they put a music on it and then they study. So you need to really balance out, because how does really the productivity increases, and each person is different. Sometimes really people will learn about it, but as you rightly said, has to be playful and mindful, but at the same time productivity. So you need to gauge your productivity and use that. So Correct. Thanks for bringing that point.
Of course. And I think it makes us happier people in the end, because they have even shown that when you're not focused, something that takes you 2 hours, when you are focused, something that takes you 2 hours, with deep focus, it could take you 20 minutes. And we all know this. When we have a deadline, we do the impossible, right? Why? Because you have a deadline. You have to do it. You go into focus, you pay attention. Everything else has to wait. So, and then the next one is this ownership mindset, right? And this is going on a lot in the US. And I know you're having problems with the job market, of course, all over the world. And so sometimes this blame mentality comes in where we are blaming the employer or the boss, and every circumstance is different. I get it. But what is being proven to show the best way to move forward, the leadership mindset, is when we own our job satisfaction, or if you're a student, your study satisfaction, your courses, your major. And so owning it means you are responsible for making sure it is the best job for you right now, maybe until after the pandemic, or if you are switching, what needs to happen for you. But owning your circumstances, however difficult they are, and I'm not saying they're not difficult, but owning them helps you achieve your goals a little easier. So it's the abundance mindset versus the victim mindset. I talk about it in my book, but it's this mindset that there is a job out there for me. There is an opportunity. I bring value. I know somebody needs me. I have to continue. Maybe I modify my search, whatever. So the ownership mindset is really the main key on that one. Okay, we continue. Oh, I have one more. Defining your daily focus. I actually put that in when I was giving this to the US Air Force, because those guys, all of their initiatives had been canceled, or their missions rather. But if you have trouble being productive, sometimes is lack of clarity and focus. So one question you can ask at the beginning of the day is, what do I most want to accomplish today? I should probably ask myself that more often now that I think about it, to be perfectly honest. But when I do, I have an amazing day. What do I most want to accomplish today? If you don't know, you need to get clear on your focus and your priorities. Okay? And not every day has to be a top maximum productivity day, but we do our best. Okay. Raising the bar on personal goals. This builds on the productivity builds. So if you need help with this, then you want to get an accountability partner. And by that, I mean somebody who shares the same goal as you. Let's say you both want to exercise together, right? You haven't done it and you just can't get motivated. So you choose someone else to hold you accountable, and you do the same for them. And the reason this works is because we don't want to let other people down. We have no problems letting ourselves down, which is not good. But if there is a person, a human being, not an app, that's going to hold you accountable, and you hold them accountable, you are more likely to achieve your goals. So you have a great community here. Pick someone at work in your community, or a fellow student. So a great idea to help you. Now, I saved this one for last, and this is mastering crucial conversations. And I don't know why those arrows are there. I don't know if somebody was drawing on the screen, but those are not in my presentation. Anyway, so let's define crucial conversations. Crucial conversations are, there are difficult decisions being communicated, okay? The stakes are high and the emotions run high, right? Like, who among us loves to have this? Not many. Let's talk about strategies that can help you with that, okay? The first one is using DISC to adapt your style. So this is, I've pulled this from a larger training, but I want to give you the overview. You all communicate in your own way. And for you to connect and relate better with the other person, you need to pay attention to certain things. For instance, your pace of speech. If you're a fast talker and you're talking to someone who's a slower in that crucial conversation, you need to slow down. You need to talk more slowly to stay connected. Simple, right? Or people versus tasks. Some people focus more on the social aspect. So how was your weekend? How are you? What are you and your husband doing? And then they get around to the task. Versus somebody who's like, okay, where's my report? It was due at 8 a.m. No preamble, nothing. So which style are you, and how do you adapt that to the person in front of you? That's the second one. The third one is your tone of voice. Some of us are really serious by nature. Others more friendly, more casual. Listen to the tone of voice of the other person. If they're fun and casual, you can relax. If they're all business, you can adapt. It's a choice, but it helps you. Body language, this is more about mirroring our body language, especially if we have the video aspect. If not, if it's phone, this doesn't apply. But mirroring your body language, if somebody's more closed off, well, you probably want to take a similar approach. You don't want to be totally relaxed. This has been shown to help you stay connected. And last but not least, how much are you listening versus speaking? Now, normally the advice is to always listen. However, what this means is some people like to talk more. Other people are more quiet and reserved, and they are more comfortable listening. When you're having a crucial conversation with this person, if it's the one who likes to talk, you need to give them the airtime. If it's somebody who's more quiet, you need to slow down and put more pauses in your conversation so you don't dominate and make them feel overwhelmed. So it's about matching our styles. Okay. Now, the question for you here is, which area, you know yourself, okay? Which area do you most need to improve? What would you say? Oops. What would you say to that? Like if I had to say, okay, for me, it used to be pace of speech. And I'm talking a little fast right now, but I adapted when I'm in a one-on-one conversation. So, okay, so think about it. I want you to pick one area that you may want to work on. Now, let's move on to the second step, delivering the news bravely. And by the way, I'm showing close to noon. Do I have another 5-10 minutes for content? Maybe not 10.
Yeah, I think we are okay. We are just reaching 12, but I think 5-10 minutes is fine. So we can wrap it up by 12:15.
Okay, great. For sure by 12:15. So delivering the news bravely. So this is really important. Using clear language and respecting the individual. So I have the exact language that I have coached people on. You want to say something like, Carrie, I'm so sorry to give you this difficult news, empathy. It was hard to arrive at this decision. I want you to know that, right? You acknowledge it. And then you say it. We need to remove your shift for the time being, blah, blah, blah. You need to just say it instead of beating around the bush. So important in that crucial conversation. People appreciate that. The third step is after we say it, we acknowledge the difficulty. We don't assume it's understood. So you share openly that you understand the predicament for that. So you might say, Stevie, I cannot imagine what this is like for you. I'm so sorry. It must take a lot of courage to face your family with the news, right? And maybe you don't know what it's like. Or you might have had a similar experience in your life, and now would be the time to share it. You might say, Aaron, I was in a similarly difficult situation a while ago. While we have unique reactions, I can admit it was difficult and scary, and I relied a lot on my family, and it helped. Okay? But we want to acknowledge the difficulty. Okay? Now, the fourth step is offering encouragement and support, because that's not implied either. So you might say, you want to remind them they're not alone, that you still value them as individuals and professionals. This is particularly important if you're parting ways in business or career sense. You might say, Tanya, I'd like to support you. What do you need right now? What would be most helpful? How can I help you navigate this? Or one of those questions. This, believe it or not, even if you deliver really difficult news, helps the person process and feel supported in that processing. Don't skip this. And the last one is always agree on the next steps. This is going to help you be very clear as to the next actions that need to happen after the meeting. And I have this whole concept of not using the word expectations and actually using more powerful language, which is around mutual agreements. So it might look like this. Again, the words. Monica, so based on this conversation that we just had, I understand that you and I are in mutual agreement to do blank. I'm going to follow up with this person. You're going to do this. Are we good on that? Or do you have any concerns? As opposed to my expectations are, that's not as effective. It's not as powerful. It's not leadership language. So those are 5 steps, right? Now, remember what I told you. One idea. From these 5 steps, if you take one idea, fantastic. I've put them in a little bit of a visual here for you. We started with this. We talked about delivering the news quickly, acknowledging the difficulty, offering encouragement and support, and agreeing on the next steps. Now, if you have a crucial conversation coming up in your life, this is going to help you. Any one of these steps will help you have a more successful conversation. Okay? And last but not least, we're going to talk about optimism. And I actually posted about this today on LinkedIn. And it's about, we just don't have a choice, right? Like, what is the opposite of optimism? And don't say realism, because that doesn't exist. We can't predict the future. It's pessimism. Why would we ever want to be a pessimist? Like in the whole history of mankind, when have we ever said we would like a pessimist leader? And we've been through a lot more, right? So you need to be the voice of optimism, but let's define optimism, okay? Optimism doesn't mean, oh, everything's great and being all giddy and positive. No, it means, here's the definition. You have the confidence that the future will be bright, that our hard work on the planet to get through this crisis will pay off, and that we will feel safe in society again. Now, if you as a leader read that and think, I don't think so, you are not ready to be the voice of optimism, and you're not ready to be a leader. So you need to find people in your life who can role model this until you get there. Because again, I don't see how we have a choice. We have to remain optimistic, right? Because there's people around you that rely on your optimism. This is really important. And with that, we're done with the main presentation. So if you're still here with me, congratulations. You didn't drop off, we have you. But I want to give you some next steps. So remember how I said take one.
Parveen, just want to let you know there are a few questions as well. So once you're done, I think Bala is getting some questions from the people, so we can just finish it off.
Yes.
And then we'll also wrap up with a group picture, even though we are digital, globally away.
I love it.
I love the people to open their videos, and then we'll take a picture at the end. So yeah, please continue.
30 seconds. So the next steps. Okay, so identify that one idea. Remember, whatever it was. And I want you to set your calendar a month out, so November 21st. And I want you to, in the meanwhile, implement that idea in your life. Because otherwise, this is a great time we had together, but it doesn't change your life for the better. And that is my hope. And that's Swami's hope too. And then at the very end, just reminding you to be a servant leader, to be a leader to those around you. All right. And with that said, that's me. I'm very active on LinkedIn. There is my website information. Connect with me. I'd love to get to know you, and turn it over to you, Swami.
Yeah, thank you, Farnoosh. It's fantastic. I think you gave a lot of key takeaways, and there is actually almost a very deep depth of information is available. And luckily, it is also recorded, so people can replay it and reuse it, see how they can do. So even though it is a 1 hour, I'm saying if you take each one takeaway from this one, at least for next 1 week, you have enough time to replay and use it. It's like your Bible to use it. So now we'll just have a few questions. So I think Bala have gathered some questions from the team. So Bala, please go ahead and see what are the questions and fire it, Farnoosh.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for that. And Farnoosh, I have a question from one of the audience. They say that because of this pandemic, it is getting impacted on his work. Okay, and his work life is getting disturbed. The reason is he's scared that if he does any small mistake or anything, he is in a threat of losing his job.
Okay.
So how can he go ahead and manage his manage this situation?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would say, that may not be true. That's just your fear talking. Like any small mistake and they're going to let me go. It may be true. I don't know. But I would just ask myself first, is it really true that any tiny little mistake, they're going to fire me? Or is that just your fear talking? Because that can drive you. That can actually be more likely to help you make mistakes. So, because you need to be in a state of calm. So I want you to really understand whether you're making this up or it's a real fear. And once you do that, hopefully it's the latter, that no, not really. I just need to do my job. I need to do it well. I need to show up, be confident. So I would really try to focus on that fear that's driving this thought. They're going to fire me. That's not a helpful thought to have. That's not going to that's going to really serve you poorly. And I think when you start there, it's going to help other things because you're going to be able to relax and realize that's not the case. If you really need to get some reassurance, maybe talk to your boss. And if you have a trusting relationship, right? And say something like, I'm just really anxious and worried. And I'm just wondering, how are things looking for our company? Can we just have a chat? How are you seeing my performance these days? Do you have any concerns? And just get him or her to reassure you, because this fear that's driving you to be so anxious is also hurting your family life, probably your health. You need to start there and start tackling it and then go from there. And I'm sorry I have to be brief. I can talk about this for an hour, but I hope I gave you something to take action with.
Thank you, Farnoosh, for answering this question. I have one more question.
I want to add just a little bit on what Farnoosh said. One of the key elements what we need to do is that one was Farnoosh talked about optimism. So we need to really go with the optimism, and you need to think. And especially whatever you really want to try, and that is helping either your organization or the community or for the greater good, whether your company is supporting or not, you should go ahead and do it. Because if a company is not supporting the greater good what you're doing, that means it may not be a good for you to stay with that company. If something maybe better is opting for you, because you all have only one life. And think about it, we have 8 million species in the world, and human being is one species. Getting that opportunity by God itself is great. And if you're not utilizing for a greater good, you are a mediocre person because of something you are really frightening. That is not really how you want to do. As a leader, go unknown paths. If your company is not supporting the great initiative what you're doing, I think the company does not, you does not deserve to be there in that company. Maybe something else better is doing. But go with a fearless force for a greater good. That's the great message I want to give it to you. Please make sure it's only one life. Do your best, achieve your dreams. And that's what Dr. Kalam says. Think big, achieve for it, work for it. If you stop your innovation, you will not grow in life.
Thank you so much, sir, for those words. And I have the next question for Farnoosh. That is, how can I increase my empathy on others?
Oh, well, great question. So I gave you some things to say, and you can build on that, right? And remember all the ways you can show up as a leader, right? I can go back to the slide if need be, but being a deep listener, just creating space. Like, you do not need to have answers, right? We think we have to solve other people's problems, especially if they're close to us and we care about them. No, no, no. Like, my husband tries to solve everything I tell him. I'm like, I just want you to listen. Just listen. He's much better though. But all joking aside, be there as somebody who is listening. Like, this is so powerful. And give them reassuring words. And then ask them, how can you help? Like, if you want to go that further step, let them tell you what they need, because we may assume what they need. It's not what they need. So if you just do that, you are going to get an A+ on empathy. But those are my thoughts. The more you do that, the more you spread the idea of empathy. So you're creating that ripple effect, which is another part of the leadership. So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, just to add on to that part, the simple way of empathy is just think about how you want to be treated by others. Mm-hmm. If you just follow, if you feel whatever the action you do by others, and if you're able to get that happiness, you should be able to do the similar, because that is the empathy, right? If someone is already going through a pain, how do you approach them? Whether you tell them, hey, I'm happy that you are going through the pain, or I feel that, I have experience and this is the real pain. So you need to see how others will treat you. You should be able to understand and then reciprocate that way to others, how that will affect. So that will be good. So that's fantastic. So I think we are just a little 10 minutes over it. What I want is before conclude by Bala, I want all the people to please open up your camera so that Farnoosh also get to see all your beautiful,
Yes.
handsome, cutie faces, and then have a wonderful picture together. And I think I have a wonderful team HR. They all are going to be showcasing a great pictures for all of us. So everybody say cheese, and we will take, I think I have a lot of windows, so I'll try to take all the windows. So everybody say cheese. And then I'm going to my other window. So please say cheese. Everybody, whoever is there, please go. Please open up, because we have to have all the students wherever you are, whether you are at home, whether you are at school, whether you're at work, everybody open up, because this is all going to be on live YouTube. Doesn't matter. If your dressing is not good, just only show up your face. This is the time you are all saying that I'm also a leader. I am also a leader, right? Dr. Abdul Kalam said, take a pledge. I am also a leader. Today onwards, instill confidence. I am a leader. You should all say, what is that you all should say? Please repeat.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
I am a leader. Okay, last guys, so open up your cameras, please. Excellent, excellent. See, that's why I love Dr. Kalam, because he gives I am a leader speech, because every person, you are driving and every person is sitting, just like, when you go in a car, there is always a driver. For your life, it is a car. Who is the driver?
Me.
I am
the driver, right? So that's why I am the leader. I am the driver. If you don't drive your life, who else will drive, right? If you are hungry, you should go and eat. Somebody will not say, of course, your mom is there, your wife is there. They'll say, hey, it is time, do you want to eat? But other than your mom and your wife, nobody else will come. Maybe kids will come, daddy, please give me the food, or mommy, give me the food, because nowadays we are all working for so late. I think, most of the time, all the females are cooking. So maybe husbands and the kids are waiting, oh, where is my food? Because the females are working so late hours. So I really appreciate everybody joining. And if you have any more questions, please follow us on LinkedIn. Farnoosh and I are very much active. We are happy to conduct more and more series. This is not a leadership speaker series. It is making everyone as a leader, act like a leader. If you believe that you are a good person, you do good things. If you believe you are a leader, you do the good things. That is why our great eminent speaker, Farnoosh, has given a fantastic speech about a lot of the takeaways: optimism, empathy, humility. There are n number of people have been given. And I'm glad, even though I'm not able to travel to all the places, because I used to go to the keynote speeches to all the engineering colleges in India and other places in the world. But now I am directly coming to your home, not to your college, because you're all watching me from home, watching Farnoosh from home. So guys, it is an opportunity for all of you to raise the bar yourself, because if you raise as a leader, you will take the family to the next level. If the family goes, the community goes. If the community goes, the country goes. If the country goes, the world goes.
Yes.
High. So aim high, think high, do high. I really appreciate everybody. So Bala, please conclude. Again, everybody, because of the social distance, our philosophy is becoming more and more prevalent. Instead of shake hands, we are all saying namaste, right? That is the social distance. No more shake hands. So our Vedic scripture is teaching us. Now we are practicing. So please, Bala, conclude this.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to thank, firstly, our eminent speaker, Farnoosh Brock.
You're welcome.
Along with Swami, for taking out time out of their busy schedule and sharing their valuable thoughts about the rise to lead and inspire during crisis. Thank you all. Thanks to all the attendees and the backstage staff for organizing such knowledgeable and supportive event, which will help us to lead our life in a better way during any crisis. To revisit this webinar, I request all the audience to stay tuned on Infomerica YouTube channel. For any further updates on further events, please follow us on Infomerica Twitter and Facebook. Thank you all for your time. You guys have a wonderful day ahead.
Bye. Thank you.
I want to say thanks to my HR team for doing incredible job in the backstage and communicating. So Sai is going through a lot of turbulent time, even in the personal times from the family. But he is not visible here, but he has really taken care, even in the crisis, he has already proven that he is rising and leading in the crisis. He has a crisis at home, but he wants to organize this because he has taken this initiative. So appreciate it, Sai and Aditya for supporting, and Anant and Rakesh and Karthik and Bala. You did a great job. And Farnush, again, thank you so much. So thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, Swami. Thank you, Farnush. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank
Thank you,
all.
Swami, sir.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Swami.